Hi guys, this is the Roundup video for May 2019. As usual, I'm just going to run through the documentation website and just go over all the changes that we've applied in this month. So I'm going to start with the accountancy integrations. So we managed to make a really nice integration with Xero using their APIs. So we have almost a seamless integration where the sales ledger payments and the purchase ledger at the touch of a button can just be sent straight to Xero. So there's no export or import. Works really nice. If you're going to use an external accountancy system with Hive, then the Xero would be the one that I recommend. We've also created it is an integration, but it's similar to Sage in that it's an export. So you create CSV files straight from Hive that import directly into QuickBooks. Same with sales ledger, purchase ledger, and payments again. To access the integration, it's the same as previously. If you just search for accountancy integration setup, you'll see here that we now have Sage, Xero, and QuickBooks. But the export method is exactly the same as it was previously, so that hasn't changed. Okay, so going back, we have a new role center. So for those companies that do a lot of the this is really for the companies that are using the internal built-in accountancy system, and this is for the companies that do a lot of the financial stuff throughout the day whilst running the garage as well. So to view the new role center, you go to My Settings, select Role Center, and select Service Financial Controller. And what you'll see from here, you've got a few more tiles, so you can access your bank reconciliation from here as well. You can see the purchase invoices that are due. You get access to your cash balances. And then you'll notice that the menu across the top and the menu on the right hand side have just got a lot more options in regards to financial transactions that you don't normally see on the Service Advisors Role Center. So if you want this sorting out, let us know. There is a bit of setup to do if you want to use this. It's really useful because it means that you don't need to switch between your accountancy role center and your service advisor role center. So I'm just going to switch back to service advisor. We introduced the ability to synchronize the job sheet details with the customer card details. So previously you could synchronize the mobile phone number and email address. And then onwards from there, we decided to actually synchronize all the address as well. So you see I'm in a job sheet now. If I search for, we'll just pick a random postcode. You'll notice I get a notification at the top saying the address you entered for Dawn Betts is different from the customer's existing address. If we select update the address and press OK, those details are then copied back to the customer card. So it's now synchronized from job card back to customer card as well. We added access to items from the Service Advisors Role Center on mobile and tablet devices. So to do this, I'm just going to switch to a tablet view. So this is what it would look like on a tablet, and you'll see we've introduced access to items. So previously you couldn't get to items on the new role center we designed. Now it's back. So again, accessible from tablets and phones. Okay, so we had, it was a bit of an oversight from us in when we introduced the ability to group items and compressed service packages. That compression and those groups weren't being copied from a VHC to a job sheet. Well, now it does. So if you group items on a VHC, or if you add a compressed service package to a VHC, if you authorize those lines and copy them to the job sheet, they now take the grouping and the compression with them. We introduced fuel information into the fact box. So if I'm just going to open a job card, fact box on the right hand side, you'll now see fuel type, which is useful when given prices, etc. This is a nice feature, so you can now copy. So from the comment section, as you'll all be aware, the comment section is for internal communication between advisors and technicians, or between advisors and advisors. And the customers don't see this information. But if you want the customer to see like a write-up, it had to be done in the work description. So we added a feature. People were manually copying this. I'll just put test comment 1 here, test comment 2, test comment 3. And if you go to manage, I'll just pin that and select copy to description. You can pick lines, comment lines, and add them straight to the description. So if the technician has wrote something that might be technical, you can copy that now straight from the comments, straight to the work description. So previously, a mileage wouldn't go from a job sheet to an inspection to a VHC. Now, providing the job card has a mileage when an inspection has been created, the mileage will go through inspection and through to VHC and then back to the job sheet. We created a stock out warning. This was to assist with document errors and understanding stock issues before it actually becomes a problem. So I'm just going to open a sample job sheet for this. Wrong one. So you see we've introduced this column here called check. Now what this column will do is going to check the availability of this part across your whole system. So you'll see here that this is not in stock, therefore we have the warning. And this one's not in stock, therefore we have the warning. Let's try and add a part that does have good stock. So you'll see that there is no warning there, but let's say we try to put 1,000 litres, we're going to get the warning because there isn't 1,000 litres in stock. So it's a real good glance at a document to see if there's any stock issues that's going to prevent you from processing the document. What it will also do is actually look at other documents. So even if you have enough stock to process the current job sheet, if there isn't enough stock to cover all of the job sheets that the item is on, then you're still going to get the warning. So it's a very good indicator if you've got any upcoming stock issues as well. For those using Autodata, we've added a facility to search by make, model, and engine code as opposed to using a VRM lookup. Yeah, QuickBooks integration we've spoken about. What we also recently introduced was a stock control system that would recommend orders for you based on criteria of what's on job sheets, what's on order, and what your desired stocking levels are. So we'll just take a quick look at this. Under purchasing, you have a new button called Requisition Worksheet. At the minute it's blank. If I go to process, calculate plan, I can leave all of this blank, but you can be more detailed if you want to. And based on the rules that I've set from the item cards, and if we just take a quick look at this item card as an example, you'll see that it's got a reordering policy and it's got a reorder point of 2. So what the system looks at is that there is a reorder point of 2, there is nothing in stock, there's nothing on order, and there's nothing on the job sheet. So it will actually look at all of your stock and all of your requirements, and what you've actually already got on order and what you've got on future jobs, and it will suggest an order list for you on that criteria. So now I have this suggested order. I can modify it here if I want to, and I can also change the supplier if I wanted to. But if I go to process lines, and we'll print the order out, you'll see it's generated a purchase order to give to the supplier. But if I also go to purchasing purchase orders, it's actually created the purchase order as well, ready to receive the invoice. So really nice feature. There is a much longer video on this, which I'll link in the description. We've extended SMS capacity to 900 characters, which is quite self-explanatory. We added a new role center for service advisors for multi-location companies, which just has some multi-location features. You can now issue a refund from return job sheets as well. So if we take a quick look at a return job sheet, it's essentially a sales credit, but with more features than a standard sales credit. And what we've actually recently added is this refund option. So if you say the bill's £200, but you're only crediting a small part of the bill, then you can create a return job sheet and actually issue a refund in the payment method that you've given a refund back to the customer. So that's done through refunds and return job sheets. The booking version of the job sheet now has all the features that a standard job sheet used to have. So from the schedule, if I go to make a booking, this document now has all of the features that a normal document had previously. So it is now the same document. We added a price calculator to estimates. So if I open the estimate up, and we'll just add a couple of sample lines in here. So you see we've got these 3 columns down here, and one of them is a price calculation. So if the customer wants to know how much it is for a particular part of the estimate, if you just tick these buttons here, then you'll see that this price calculator just changes dynamically based on whatever you select here. So it will add the prices together and then add the VAT. So it just makes, when giving customers particular prices off a total estimate, it just makes it easier for the service advisor. We actually, so this next warning is related to the warning that we gave for stock from job sheets. So we introduced it, and then a week later we improved it. So if this, for example, these brake pads, we've got good stock of these actually. Right. So we're getting the stock out warning for these brake pads. If I was to say, if I modify the item card and I change the stock out warning to note, because there's some parts that you don't stock control, which is quite accepted. So you'll see that the warning's gone now because I've turned, for this particular part, I'm not stock controlling it. Therefore, I don't want the warning about stock. We added the GDPR preferences to the vehicle list. This is all to do with marketing and data extraction. So if we go to the list of vehicles, what we've actually added, if you wanted to export the vehicle data previously, you had to combine the vehicle data and the customer data. We've added all of the customer data to the vehicle list. So in the extract, you can have all of their GDPR preferences, etc. So you'll see here. And this is really useful if you wanted to filter to just the customers that want to receive reminders. You can very quickly just filter that list down and then open it in Excel. We've added access, so we've had a couple of users where the technicians have now started using laptops or PCs in combination with their devices. So what we've actually added is the option to add access to the schedule directly from Easy Clocking. So I'm going to open an example of Easy Clocking here, and you'll see that this is the standard screen the technician would see on their tablet, and you'll see here they've got access to the schedule, and this just opens a version of the schedule. That's turned off by default because we appreciate that that's not for everybody, but it is now an option. We added a warning for when technicians clock off a job if they've not ticked all of their technician confirmed lines. So to do this, I'm just going to switch to a technician's view. And then we'll switch to tablet. So for easy clocking, again, you'll see, just going back to the previous feature, I can access the schedule from here. I'm just going to open this job. So you see here I have these, but I've not confirmed this as the technician. So this is just like a tick list of the technician stating that they've completed particular parts of the job. If they haven't completed all of the job and they try and clock off, they will get this warning. There are now labor or items unconfirmed by a technician in job sheet. Do you want to review the document first? It's entirely possible that the technician's not actually doing the part of the job that they've not ticked, but now they can no longer forget. They have to intentionally ignore this warning. So if I don't want to review the document first, I'll just select no. I then get my mileage warning, and I can just clock off as normal. So I'm just going to switch back to a service advisor. Okay, so added vendor columns to estimates, right? So this was a nice request from the forums. When you're creating an estimate now, or you're creating a VHC, you've got this vendor number column here. So if you're pricing something up and you select the vendor number here, when you authorize the particular line or you convert the estimate to a job sheet, the vendor is pre-selected on that item ready for you to raise your purchase order. All you'll need to do is enable the vendor number column. So you'll just need to go into your choose columns options within estimates and VHCs and just select vendor number. Okay, added estimate tiles to service financial controller. That's pretty straightforward. So we've added the vehicle inspection data to web services, which we're experimenting with at the minute. This will, in theory, allow you to report on the identified lines within an inspection. So this is just for reporting purposes. You can now print posted return job sheets, which you couldn't do previously. There was an error. We've fixed that. We've added a new payment, a new way of applying customer payments. So I'll just show you this very quickly. So to do this, you go to customers, find the customer with a balance. You go to process, register customer payments. You simply select the invoice the customer is paying, select the payment method, and then just post payments. And that pays that invoice off, and it also works with your end of day report as well. We've added so previously the booking reminders that you can send to customers a few days before they're due in or the day before they're due in. On the email template, you had to have the booking time. We've introduced customer notification setup. Under booking reminders, you now have this option here. So don't show booking time. We appreciate that people don't book to the minute, and it was causing confusion giving the customer the very specified time that they were supposed to be due in. You can now attach documents to all of these documents, the job sheets, return job sheets, estimates, VHCs. So I'll just show you an example of this. If I open a job sheet up, under show attached, you've got attachments, and this is where you'll have a list of attachments. So all I need to do, if I just click on this attachment, it will download the report. If I want to add a new one, select diagnostic report. I'm trying to upload the same file, but you get the point. It will add images, PDFs, Word documents, whatever you like. You can actually add to all these documents within Garage Hive. They will also persist with the job sheet through to posted documents. So if you want to recall that information, then you can do from posted documents as well. And last of all, we've improved the SMS interface. So from within a job sheet, if you select SMS, previously it was up in the action bar. We've now just moved the buttons down here just to make it a little clearer. We were getting people accidentally not sending a message because they were just closing this screen thinking that the message had been sent. So we've just improved that now. So that's all the changes. As always, this is available on our documentation website. There's a lot to take in. I think this is the most we've ever applied in a single month. Looking forward to your feedback. As usual, any questions, just please let me know.